It can be hard to come up with content to fill the never-ending social media feeds. But how do you come up with interesting content that's going to keep your audience coming back for more? I have 13 content creation ideas for you. And if you want to make your social media work for you instead of just creating more work for you, download my Social Media Strategy Planner. This will help you get a jump start on your social media strategy and save you tons of time. The link is right below. So my first content creation idea for you is to ask questions. This is by far one of the easiest things that you can start creating for your social media posts. Asking your audience questions, having them respond, and then sharing their answers creates really engaging and interesting content. And again, can be very specific to your audience. And questions can be anything from fill in the blank to true and the false to multiple choice to just simply open-ended questions just to see what kind of responses people are giving you. It can give you great insights into your business and into your customers and what they're thinking. It can also help to give you ideas about possible content or products that you could be creating for them. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when my next video goes live. And since we're talking about your audience and your customers, the second idea is to actually interview your customers or post testimonials. You can do this in such creative ways, not only by simply having a photo or video from someone, but by doing things like having screenshots made of reviews or things that have already been submitted to other review websites. So if you have a pretty high profile presence on something like Yelp or even Google, you can take screenshots of testimonials that people have given about your business and then use them as a social media post. This is another form of user-generated content, which we'll get into later. The third idea I have for you is to share your story. What makes your business unique? What made you start your business? What is one of the things that makes you get up every day and just want to work on your business? Share your passion for why you do what you do. You may have heard this before. This is definitely something that gets talked about in business a lot these days, but I still see a lot of the bigger brands not doing this. They almost feel like when they get to a certain level, they don't have to share what that backstory was. But the backstory is always interesting. Like if I started to tease you right now and tell you, well, I actually got into social media because I used to be a rock and roll reporter, click here to read the rest of that story. I'm pretty sure a lot of you would be clicking on that social media post. Since you are sharing the story of why you do what you do and maybe some backstory of your business, it would also be really fun to share a bit of your workspace with your audience. So if you have a really cool office that you want to share with the world, take some pictures of that. Or maybe your building is part of like historical landmark or in a very historical area or has some really beautiful scenery around it. You could take pictures and post that too and share what your environment looks like. So when you're thinking of sharing your work environment, remember, it doesn't have to be and actually shouldn't be what your actual desk looks like, because that could actually open you up to all kinds of security issues. But sharing your area, like I said, the landscape or just the historical significance of an area that you live in can be very interesting to your audience and make them want to learn more about you and your services. So since we're sharing our workplaces, you can also share some information about your employees. Again, I want to put the disclaimer here because if you know anything about me, you know I'm very into social security, meaning to keeping your private on social media. There are ways of introducing your employees in a way that is not only thoughtful and interesting, but also in a safe manner. So if you have employees that are particularly active in an activity or maybe in a local charity, you can share those stories as well on your social media. For me and my team, we all seem to do some kind of outdoor activities or sports. So you can be sure that a lot of the things we talk about on our stories are things like getting into the great outdoors, whether that be running or hiking or camping. So for the next tip, let's talk about sharing something popular. I want you to think about something that's popular within your industry or in your business, or specifically that's happening on your website that you could share with your audience. Let's take, for example, there's a very popular product that seems to be doing super well on your website. You could start talking about that on your social media and even make up a little story about why you think the popularity is happening and what kind of interesting uses people have found for that product. These posts can become interesting, insightful, and even funny. And funny on social media goes a long way. Which leads me to my next tip. For your social media posts, don't be afraid to create something entertaining or even funny. Again, you want to make sure that it's appropriate for your industry and your business, but finding something lighthearted or entertaining that you could share with your audience is a sure way to get higher engagement and higher response from your audience. You can look for opportunities to have fun with your followers. Just make sure that it stays true to your brand. The next thing we want to tie into this is talking about something seasonal. Making sure that your business is engaging in seasonal or cultural conversations is a sure way to up the engagement on your social media posts and make it something that people are interested in talking about, commenting on, and sharing. And you could be talking about holidays here, but it also could be something specific to your location. Like if you're in an area where you're experiencing a heat wave, like I am in Los Angeles right now, your social media post could be geared towards things that are going on within that area, like how to beat the heat. Anything that would speak to something that was locally happening within the weather is a really fun and entertaining way of bonding with your community and also providing a really good social media post. And that's really the perfect tie-in for my next idea, which is to get some user-generated content. The big old UGC. What that means is that you actually have your audience create content that you are going to post on your social media, or you are going to repost a piece of content that they have already shared on their own social media and tagged your business in order to let you know that they created the content for you. This works on many levels. First, it makes your customers feel heard and seen. And also, it creates that bonding experience that can only be had when you're sharing a situation and then attributing it to a specific follower. And think about it, if you tie it into a contest, that's even better. Then your audience actually even wins prizes or some kind of incentive for creating that content that you then get to post on your social media as well. And if you're interested in hearing more about user-generated content, just check out my video where I outline the steps about how to get user-generated content as part of your social media plan. So coming down to my next few tips, one of the best social media content pieces that you can ever create is an eye-grabbing statistic. Yes, that whole infogram thing is back again. Social media followers love to have statistics laid out in a graphic form. Statistical information presented in a graphic form is easier to understand and easier to share. Your social media content should be shareable. Your audience will love it, and the algorithms will love it even more. And coming down to my final two social media content ideas, we have sharing tips with your audience. Chances are you have a lot of expertise and tips that you could share with your audience. So write down a list of tips that have to do with a particular service or product that you provide. And maybe even include some tips from customers. And then when you share them, you could also tag your customers in the post as well, thereby creating the whole share wheel. And finally, since we're focused on customers at this point, let's thank our customers for their support. Now, this is one of the easiest social media content posts to do, and one that should be done in every business. And whether you are calling out specific customers or just as a general putting out a post that says, I really thank you for your support and your business. My customers are the best. These kind of posts will go really far, especially when they are done from a place of genuine intention. Remember, with all of your social media posts, you want them to be valuable, you want them to be creative, you may even want them to be entertaining. You also want them to be created with truth and intention. Social media conversations are about conversations. They're supposed to create value and build your community. So when you think about that with every social media post that you create, not only will you be able to utilize the ideas that I've laid out for you here, I'm sure you'd have a bunch of ideas that you could share with us as well. In fact, if you have some good social media idea creation ideas, please drop them in the comments and let's all share them together. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when my next video goes live.